Hey, I hope you can hear me okay. This is my first time doing a live on YouTube, so I'm not really sure what to expect. If you're here, go ahead and just drop a little comment and let me know that you're there. So, hi everybody, I'm Cassandra. Um, if you found me through Instagram, then you already know I'm Rizenitz. Hi everybody. Hi Bridget. Hi Tiffany. So like I said, I just wanted to try the YouTube format, see how it's maybe better or worse than doing a live on Instagram. So if I mess anything up or if you can't hear me or anything like that, just let me know, okay? Because I don't know. So I mostly wanted to come on and answer some of your questions. So if you see me looking down, I'm just on my phone because I have your questions here from Instagram. And actually I can set this there. Perfect. Okay. So I might wait. Hi. Might wait just a minute longer to give people a chance to join us. I'm not really sure how YouTube notifies you that I'm live. So my throat is so dry. I don't know if any of you have seasonal allergies, but oh my gosh, I've had the worst allergies the last couple of weeks. I also have some things to show you, some surprises. So stick around if you have the time to hang out with me for a little bit. So I'm just going to start with the first question here. Does it let me? Hold on, I have to click on them separately, I think. No. Oh, come on. Sorry. I'm not a very techie person. I should be, but okay. Why won't it let me read the whole question? You guys, I'm doing this and clicking like on the questions and it will only let me either share. All right, I guess I just have to see it that way, to have to actually click on it as if I'm going to share it to be able to read the full complete question. Can you hear me okay? I'm like mumbling and muttering to myself. All right, so first question is from Grammy Knitterbug. And she asked, how long have you been knitting? So a lot of people are usually surprised to hear my answer. Well, technically, I learned to knit at the same time that I started crocheting when I was really young. I don't even know how old I was because it was just something that both of my grandmas knit and crocheted. And it's just something that they always had around. And so I know I started learning really young. Like they taught me how to just like hand sew and crochet and knit when I was really young. So probably like 6 or 7. And I would make little doll clothes and like blankets for my Barbies and things like that. But I loved crocheting at that time. So I kept crocheting from the time I learned onward. I just always usually would have some sort of project going on crochet. I eventually started making little like creatures and freeform things out of crochet and making like purses and stuff like that. And then it wasn't until actually I had my second daughter and we moved into our house that we're in now. And so this was about 4-ish years ago that I got invited to a knitting group as a crocheter, and they assured me they had lots of Bistitchual members in the knitting group and that I would fit right in. So I went and I had my crochet with me, and that was kind of what spurred me to pick up knitting again, being around other knitters. And also I I had gotten this idea that I would love to one day own a yarn shop. So I thought, if I really think that's something I want to do one day, then I need to have all the skills so that I can help customers and people who come in, which ended up being what I'm doing now without the yarn shop. But so I picked up knitting again only 4 years ago. It was after I had both of my daughters and we were in this house. So it wasn't even, it couldn't even be 5 years because my little one's 5 now and she was a baby. So I've been knitting nonstop ever since. I still crochet a little bit here and there. I actually would like to get back into it, and including it in more patterns and things, especially like crochet details. I love like crochet edging, and I just think it's so fun, all the different varieties of stitches that you can do with crochet. So I will probably eventually include some more crochet into my patterns, but maybe also giving the option to knit whatever it is that's being crocheted so that it's more accessible to everybody. So long story short, how long have I been knitting? 4 years consistently. When I first learned as a kid, I made one scarf and that was it. And I didn't knit again. So I feel like 4 years is my most honest, truthful answer, because I actually learned sort of self-taught without even knowing what it was, taught myself to continental knit, because after years and years of crocheting, trying to knit English style felt so awkward and clunky. And so I was so determined to learn it that I just started playing around with my needles and trying different holds and wraps and things. And I eventually ended up with my yarn in my hands the same way that I hold it when I crochet. And I took them to my knitting group and I was like, look, you guys, like I figured out a way to hold it so that it doesn't feel so weird to me. And they were like, yeah, that's continental knitting. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. So now that's one of the classes I teach is continental. And I teach it from a perspective of finding what works best for your hands, because everybody's hands are shaped differently, and your motion and range of motion will be different from one person to the next. So I teach continental knitting, but very personalized to anybody who comes and takes one of my classes. So anyways, that was a really long answer. I'm sorry, guys. Question number 2 is from Carrie Cogan, and she said, I won't be able to watch live, but I'm curious about your process when you start a new design. Me too, girl. So my process, let's talk about it. I'm actually working on, and I say working on, there's literally nothing to show you other than the yarn right now, but I've been working on a design. I'm continental too, also crochet a lot. Sorry, I'm gonna try to keep up with comments. I'm forgetting that they're over here, so I'm checking them. Yes, so Tiffany, I'm sure you know what I mean when I say it's like it just feels more natural in your hand to hold it that way. Thank you, Bridget. So yes, so my design process, it's a bit like my speaking process, a little here, a little there. Usually what happens is I have a vague idea of something that I just want. Hi, Melissa. That I just want in my wardrobe. And it's usually based on the season that we're coming into. It's something that I'm like, ooh, I'm looking forward to wearing this thing this season. I love fashion. I've always loved fashion. I almost went to school specifically for fashion design, and I ended up going for fine art, just as a more general background instead of focusing specifically on fashion. But it's always been like a huge thing that I've loved and been passionate about. I love trends. I love trying new things. So I lost my train of thought. Sorry. Okay. When I'm designing, I usually get this sort of vague idea of something that I want to try to wear, incorporate into my wardrobe coming into the next season, and then think of which yarn I might like to use for that. Sometimes I'll go through my stash and just see what I already have. If there's something that's been calling my name that just really wants to be used, I might go into my stash. But a lot of times I will connect with a yarn dyer that I know has a style that's suited to the idea I have in my mind. And then once I get the yarn is when I really start to flesh out the full idea. So if you've ever given me yarn support in the past, you probably know that the way I work with you, it's sort of like, here's my general framework. I have a couple of bullet points that I want to hit with this pattern, but I'm not going to have like a finished sketch. Like you'll never see this is what it's going to look like. I've done that in the past for like submissions to magazines and stuff, but it really is not my design style or process. So I will get the yarn and I can actually show you a little of the process that I'm working on now. So for fall, I just really was like, we need a pumpkin sweater, like a fall, warm, orangey, burnt umber sort of orangey sweater, something bulky, something easy to wear, loose fitting, cozy, you can wear with jeans or leggings. I want it to have pockets and I want it to have some sort of bats incorporated into the design. So those were my bullet points: that burnt orange, pumpkin color, bulky, loose fitting, pockets, and bats. Those are my bullet points. Then I contacted a yarn dyer who I know does an amazing burnt orange color, and it's Why Not Fibers. That's YWHY. Not is spelled like a knot in yarn or thread. Why Not Fibers. They're a Michigan company, and I've used this specific color before, so I'll go ahead and show you. This is their color called Sweet Potato. I've used it to knit a She Rises hat for a friend of mine, and it's just, this color is so good. I get like, oh. So I knew they dyed this color. I went and I checked their website to make sure that they could do it in their bulky weight yarn. And they did. It's their Swift base. It's 100% merino. I do believe it's superwash. I think I wrote it down. So here's their logo. If you don't follow them already, you should. So this is, yes, 100% superwash merino. There's 106 yards per skein. Like I said, it's very bulky. This is called Swift, and it's in Sweet Potato. So I contacted them, and I've actually met them a couple of times because, like I said, they're in Michigan. So I've ran into them at a few different, Fiber Festival and actually at Stitches Midwest in Chicago, which is funny because we're both in Michigan. Anyways, so I have a bunch of this Sweet Potato to work with. I'm not going to pull out all the skeins, but you get the idea. There's a bunch of it. So that's going to be the base. Oh, look at that color. It's so good. How much do you love this? And then just a single skein of this is their colorway called Smoke and Shadows. And so it's just like a nice steel gray. And that will be the bat details. I'm still debating whether it will be embroidered on duplicate stitch. Probably not duplicate stitch, but it's a possibility, or intarsia or color work of some sort. So you see, this is my thing. So what my next step in the process will be, cake up at least half of these so that they're ready to go, and then do some swatching to get the sizes right. I will probably swatch a little bit of color work with these two together and just see how it looks on my, that orange is perfect for fall. Loving it. Yes, that orange is everything. Right? I'm so glad you guys love it. So I will swatch, I'll get my needle size right, and I will probably swatch a little bit of color work, maybe even mapping out a bat motif if I were to incorporate it that way as like stranded color work with this. So that's the next step. However that goes will lead into the next step, basically. Beautiful colors for fall. Yes, yes, yes. So I love bats. They're my favorite animal, have been for a long time. I just think they're adorable and interesting, and I think they're great to have around because they eat all the nasty mosquitoes. And I am that person that if you're outside with me, you'll be like, oh, it's such a nice night. And I'll be like scratching myself all over because the mosquitoes are attacking me. And you're like, oh, they're not attacking me at all. And it's because they're all on me. I'm that person. So I'm like, bats, let's get as many around us as we can. I sit outside on my front porch and we have a street light right in front of our house, and you can like watch them like diving to get the bugs. And I'm like, I love you. Keep it up. So anyways, love bats. And wanted to incorporate them into my fall sweater. So that actually kind of answers the design process and showing you what I'm currently thinking about, technically not knitting on yet, but it's, you know, I'm thinking about it. Your son built a bat house? That is awesome. We actually have one that my neighbor gave to me and we still have to put it up. Yes, little bats. I knew what you meant. So I'm keeping this yarn. There are 9 skeins of this bulky yarn in total, and I'm keeping it in this bag I got from, her name is Eva Novak. She's in the Ukraine, and she sent me, I wanted to show you these bags anyway, so this is actually a good transition here. She sent me a whole set, a collection of these amazing bags. I actually plan on doing a separate video just reviewing the bags because they're so special. She hand makes all of these in the Ukraine. She sent me the whole set, so I'll show you. Oh, I didn't grab the backpack. This is the second largest in the set. The largest is actually a convertible backpack style where the straps can be hooked either as a crossbody purse or as a backpack where they go up into a point with backpack straps. And so it's bigger than this by a little bit with lots and lots of pockets. So well made. This is like this cool like gray denim look, not denim. I don't know if you would call, what do you call this kind of fabric? And then with the little crochet lace detail down here, which is beautiful. Everything is just like so well finished. It has a handle. So this is the, like I said, the second largest in the set. The lining on this bag is so cute too. It like perfectly complements this orange here. And all of the bags that she sent me are lined with the same fabric. And then they have just pockets all around, and they're like the nice pockets that are separated. So I'm going to open this up so I can show you a little better. But her Instagram handle and her website are Knitted Dreams by Eva. And if you search like the people I follow on Instagram, you could find her there too. But it has all of these pockets that are separated. So there's like the skinnier ones for notions and things, and then wider ones. And then on this side, there's like the big one where you could put your pattern in. And that's her tag, Eva Novak. Little apples on her tag, super cute. So definitely check her out if you get a chance. Looks like linen. Yeah, it could be. It feels heavier than that to me. Like it reminds me of denim, but I don't think it's quite, I don't know. Maybe you could be right. It could be linen. Either way, I really like it. It's really sturdy. And then there is a over the arm style bag where you can put your knitting in it and knit out of it with it over your arm. So that's really nice to have in the collection. And there's also fully pockets throughout the inside of this one as well. You can even, I suppose you could turn it inside out. Look at how cute that is. And these are all pockets here for like your needles, and you probably could fit a cell phone in there. This is the larger one for your pattern. So freaking cute. And there is a needle minder here for double pointed, and I've actually used these for like my regular needles too, and I'll just like my circular needles, I should say, I'll just like feed the needle tips in and then snap it up so that they stay together in my bag. She sent this little magnet too, which I love. I have seen every episode of Friends like 5,000 times. When I had my first daughter, it was before like we just had Netflix streaming and stuff. So I had the complete box set. My husband got it for me so that I had something to watch in the wee hours of the night when I was breastfeeding nonstop. So I just thought that was so funny because it's like the Friends logo, eat, sleep, knit. Anyways, that was a cute little touch she included. And like I said, there is a backpack, but last but not least, besides the backpack, is this cool Notions pouch. It's much larger than a typical Notions pouch, which I actually really like because I have a lot of small ones. But it has a zipper pocket in the front with a nice sturdy zipper with cute hardware. Like everything about the details that she included is so high quality. And then the inside also has a zippered pocket. So just like awesome organization. I used the backpack already to last weekend was my husband and I's 11th wedding anniversary, and we went and stayed overnight at a hotel in Detroit, and I used it as my like overnight bag. That's how big it was. I had all of my toiletries and my clothes for the next day and everything packed into that awesome backpack of the same fabric. So I think I have to actually scroll to keep seeing your comments here. Okay. Whew, it's hot today. You guys, where is fall? I thought maybe like getting this orange yarn out and the bulky, like maybe I need to actually start knitting on it. That's what'll bring fall around. I thought it was just, thinking about it, but thinking about it is not enough. We have to take action, bring fall to us. So that being said, let me find the next question. So that chick made it asked, how many whips do you have? How many works in progress? Oh dear. I don't even know. I have whips sort of stashed in every corner of my house right now. There are socks on the go. There are projects for friends on the go. There's at least one design in progress. I just bound off another pattern that I will reveal. I guess I'll reveal it now if you would like to see. Please do it. I'm ready to. Yes, ready for fall. It is too hot. So this is a little reveal. I haven't even blocked it or woven in the ends yet. There's only a couple of ends that need to be woven in, but still, I have not blocked it. So it will change a little bit. But so technically this isn't a work in progress, but kind of, because I still have to block it. So this is it. This is my casual fashion queen. Oh, hi. You're just on your husband's profile. Yeah, 2 designs in progress and countless whips. So you know the drill. I used to be and I say used to be, it's not like I've been knitting that long, but I started out an extremely monogamous knitter. I could only handle working on one thing at a time mentally. It was too much for me to be like bouncing from one thing to the next. And then I heard from all places, I guess it makes sense, from Stephen West, he said on some video somewhere that if he feels stuck on one project, that he will just move to the next one. And then if he feels like going back to the first one, then he'll go back to the first one and add and subtract like that. And that he was actually more productive that way. And I kind of have been experimenting, we'll say, with that theory. So I went from being a very monogamous knitter to trying to sort of diversify when I would get bored or stuck on one design, switching to a different one, or casting on something that I didn't really need to think about too much. So it's been good and bad. I feel like I still mentally feel like I accomplish more if I'm just working on one thing at a time and finish it completely, because sometimes what happens is I'll finish something, and if I wait too long to get it, typed up and edited and all of that, then I almost forget about it. Like it just sits, and then I almost feel like I've wasted the time on knitting the project because I didn't actually set it out before you guys. So, I don't know. We'll see how that goes, especially now that my kids are in school during the day. See if I continue that sort of bouncing around productivity, or if I just focus back down onto one thing at a time. I kind of feel like even just saying it out loud that I will sort of transition back to the one thing at a time thing, but we'll see. So anyways, I teased this. I showed you guys. And then I didn't say anything about it. So this is a little cowl, not little, it's pretty huge actually. Cowl / poncho sort of situation with, here, if I stand up, yarn from Casual Fashion Queen. If any of you know Sheena, she's a brilliant yarn dyer based out of Florida. And so this is her Bohemia colorway in 2 different bases. So it's the fingering weight yarn starting here, and then it's mixed with her mohair lace weight yarn here, back to the fingering weight, and then just the solid lace weight yarn. And it sort of transitions between the 2 weights of yarn throughout, and you end up with this cool texture and interest, and you can like see through it in certain areas, and it's more opaque in other areas. And I love how it turned out. You can wear it twice around if you want to for extra warmth. The color though is just perfect. She's so good. Like her color theory, I feel like, is on point. So this is an end that needs to be woven in. And once it blacks out, it will, like, this edge is meant to be ruffly, but not so rolled up. And the lace will open up a lot too. I believe that's the plan. So, beautiful, looks so soft. I can't get excited about knitting more than one thing, but I have a written list that changes constantly of what to knit next. That's actually a really good idea. I really need to get better about keeping my lists and notes in the same notebook. I'm kind of obsessed with like stationery and cute like notebooks and pens and stuff. So I feel like I always buy new notebooks and I start one pattern in it, and then I buy a new notebook and I start another pattern in it, and they're scattered all over the place. And I'm like, oh, where was that one that I was working on? I have to go look through all of my pattern notebooks to figure out where I wrote the pattern down. So bad. So I need to get better about list making and keeping it all together. story of my life. So yeah, this, it's so pretty. I love it like this, doubled up. I don't even have a name for it. That's usually like comes last, which is so funny because a lot of the time the name like inspires the pattern, but in reverse. That didn't make any sense, but it does to me. So usually it's like it'll hit me what I was doing the whole time will suddenly hit me when I'm finished with the pattern, and I'll be like, that's what that was. That's the name. It makes sense to me. So as I'm typing this up and taking the photos and things like that will probably be when I actually come up with the name for it. So if you have any suggestions, feel free to shout them out. And who's excited about mixing some mohair? Because I feel like there's so much good mohair out there right now, and we need more patterns on how to use it. So that's that. Let me see what my next question was. Tifflery, is that you, Tiffany? Oh yes, I bet you it is. You asked, how do you organize your projects, designs, i.e. things you want to make, design, whips, etc.? How do I organize? Well, I kind of just touched on that a little bit. I don't. I use project bags. I guess that's probably the best way to explain it. So like, for example, this fringe bag has notebook in it with all of the notes of, let's see, which one? This has the cowl notes in it. See, I did draw some pictures, but they're not what the pattern turned out like at all. So that's kind of interesting. You can see my initial sketches. There's certain elements of the sketch that made it into the final design. It was kind of those bullet points like I talked about earlier. Large wrap in the round. It did do that. Knit with sock weight and mohair. Did that. Segments held double and segments of each yarn held single. I did that. Possible short row shaping. I did that. So I did really hit all of my bullet points that I wanted with the pattern. It just is nothing like what I drew. It came out completely different. So in that sense, that did pretty good, that one. So yeah, all my notes, and that is in this bag here. So that was the bag that I was using while I was working on that project. I'm actually using it now for a new pattern. If you follow my Instagram, which I'm pretty sure all of you do, that's how you found me. You've seen this. It's another design I'm working on. And again, it has bullet points in my mind. But as far as execution of those bullet points, that could change greatly as I actually work on it. This was a yarn pulled from stash project. I had an idea for a striped t-shirt, and my first step was to look in my stash and see if I had anything that would work. And I did, and I love these colors together. And there's also 2 more colors that I plan to incorporate a little bit later on in the design. I love how this pink has these colors both in it. It kind of isn't reading that well in this light, but it has that purple and that golden ochre color in it. So I think it's going to be really pretty. I love these colors. They just make me really happy. So this is going to be, like I said, the basic bullet points are, it's a fully ribbed striped t-shirt. I I honestly haven't decided exactly how I'm going to do the sleeve and yoke shaping yet. I have ideas of what I want it to look like and how I want it to fit on the body. But as far as executing that, that will happen as I get there. Sometimes I'll use a lifeline where I'll thread the, floss or whatever thinner thread through the stitches so that if I have to drop down, it's not a big deal. Although this is actually really easy to drop down because it's ribbing and I can see my stitches really easily. So not a big deal. Yes to more mohair. You do need to try mohair. I love the stripes. I'm obsessed with stripes. One of my most popular patterns on Ravelry is still the Cobain top, named for Kurt Cobain. It was that sort of grungy, styled, inspired cowl neck sleeveless sweater, and it's got the big black and white stripes. I love stripes, and I love horizontal stripes. Sue me. I love them. Sometimes designs have a mind of their own. They sure do. And I embrace that. I enjoy it. So if I try too much to actually plot out a very detailed and specific design plan ahead of time, I struggle with those. Those projects are the absolute hardest for me. If I'm working, with a designer or something, or a dyer that like wanted a specific type of pattern for a specific type of yarn and where I've got these like very strict guidelines to fit into, doesn't work for me. Does not work for me at all. So anyways, next question. Hooks and Horror asked, have you finally gotten around to watching Gem and the Holograms yet? I have not. Yeah, I have a vague idea of what's it about because people have told me. So if you don't know, I get lots of comments that I look like or remind people of Gem from Gem and the Holograms, which is like a cartoon from like the late 80s, early 90s, maybe? I don't really know. But yeah, I've never actually seen it. So I don't know. I guess I gotta go back and watch some episodes. And Tiffany again said, continued, or do you just jump in and do what you want in the moment? Oh, sorry, that was part of your first question. Oopsie. So that was just more on the organizing for designing and things like that. Do I just jump in and do what I want at the moment? Yes. The answer is yes. Paisley Ducky asked, do you plan to do a new Walk the Block MCAL next year? This last one was so amazing. Thank you, first of all. The Walk the Block mystery knit along, oh my goodness, I loved it. Okay, so I know I had like a rocky start because it was my first knit along and I was figuring it out as I went along, as I do most things. And but the overall like feeling of it and the finished product of it and the experience of working with people as they were sort of discovering the pattern, it was so fun. And I love how that scarf turned out. As you can probably guess, I was making it up as I went along, but ahead of schedule. So like ahead of what you guys got or saw. Will I do it again? I don't know if I will do a Walk the Block specifically, but, I hadn't really thought about it. I suppose I could do another walking-based knit-along. I really liked that as an addition to the knitting and the mystery. I liked that we got to incorporate some movement and some just encouragement in that aspect of things. And so I could potentially do another pattern that it lends itself to walking while knitting it. But will I do another mystery knit along again? Yeah, I think I will. I really enjoyed it. And I think the people who stuck it out and actually finished the pattern really enjoyed it too. So that was cool. You love your Cobain. Yes, you made one for your daughter too, right? So cool. So that was one of my very first patterns too, was Cobain. And the last question I have here on Instagram is from Manel Knits. Oh wait, no, when did you start knitting? Oh, okay. I guess that is kind of the same question as the first one. How long have you been knitting and when did you start knitting? So the answer is roughly 4 years ago, if you don't count learning when I was a kid and then never doing it again until 4 years ago. So, do you guys have any more questions for me while we're here? I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to share with you. Spinning update? There is none. I really enjoyed doing it. I just haven't picked it up lately. In fact, just having this in my hand right now makes me want to start spinning right now because it's really fun and satisfying. It's really satisfying. And I have all these new fibers to try too, because I got both. I got the Fiber of the Month Club to do some unboxing videos twice now. So I have all this fun fiber to play with and I want to play with it. This was some of the fiber from the last Paradise Fibers unboxing. I have it sitting right here, ready to go. And I want to play with it. This was that recycled sari silk. And I still have a ton of cashmere and mohair. And this was, I believe this was Tarhi. Should have it right here. No, Cheviot, sorry. Some Cheviot in here to use. So I have, sorry, oh, my nose. I have loads of really fun fiber to play with and I just need to do it. But I'm like, I want to knit too. I want to do everything all at once. I need 7, 8 arms. Probably an even number would be good. 7 sounds like a good number of arms to have. I don't know. What else? So this was the other thing I figured I would mention. Will you ever do learning knits on YouTube? So like teaching how to knit from the very beginning? I don't know. So what I need to do, I feel like there's so many videos out there already on how to knit, but what I may do if I do is go and just sort of discover what's already been done so that I'm not just repeating the same stuff that other people have already done. Because as it is now, I think you can go on YouTube and find lots of how to knit videos. But I do have my own distinctive teaching style. It's why I continue to teach classes, because I do think my specific teaching style lends itself very nicely to a broad range of knitters and new to knitting knitters. I teach with sort of a beginner mindset. So do you recommend anyone to follow to learn to knit? Like I said, I haven't really checked out much. I think when I first picked it back up, I didn't really watch a lot of videos because I was just trying to figure out what felt comfortable for me. And so I ended up just making it up. But I definitely could. I think it wouldn't be too much work to, I mean, videos can be very time consuming as far as filming, editing, setting up, tearing down, and all of that. But now that the kids are in school, I have a little more freedom to do some of that. So I'll definitely think about it. I have so many things that I want to knit right now and patterns that I want to write. So it's not at like the top of my list, but it can be added. It can be added to the list. Have I tried a Turkish spindle? I find them to be easier than top whirl. I don't even know what that means. So the answer is no. This is the only spindle I have because it is what Paradise Fibers so graciously sent to me when I did the unboxing video. It wasn't included in their Fiber of the Month Club, but they knew that I was new to spinning. So they sent me this gorgeous, so I guess this is a top whirl spindle. And so you hold the yarn up this way and you spin it from the bottom, and this is the whirl, so it's on top. Yeah, that's all I know. So the answer is no. I would be interested in finding out more. If you have specific information on it that you want to, send along to me, feel free. And what else do you recommend? Oh, no, I already read that one. 48-hour days. Yes, please. 7 arms in 48-hour days would be fantastic. Never enough time for all the things. Never, never. Was that Grayson's tail? Yes, that was Grayson's tail. Yes. And it's cool. Thank you. I'm going to take a spin at Continental Stitch and try. Do it. If you can crochet, you can continental knit for sure. Maybe Grayson will come back. He's getting water right now. Grayson, come here. Come here. Maybe not. He just looked at me. He's like, what? What do you want? Oh, he's coming. You see him? There he is. Grayson, where are your brothers? Vivi has taken to calling all 3 of the cats Kidder Bros because they're cat brothers. So they're Kidder Bros. I think it's adorable. Come here. He just laid down. Do you see his feet right there? He was just like, yeah, that's far enough. He's so lazy. All right, you guys. This ended up being much longer video than I had planned on. Well, I didn't really plan on anything. I figured we'd just go with the flow as usual. So, thank you so much for sticking around and hanging out with me today. This is really fun. I think I like this better than the Instagram stories because I can just set up the camera or set up my laptop, and yeah, I like this setup better, and I can see comments easier and not having to like scroll on the screen that I'm videoing on. Cool. Well, thank you so much. I have to figure out how to end this. Like physically, I don't know how to. Oh, here it says end stream. That's probably it. Bye, guys. Knit bravely. Mwah.